Hello, entrepreneurs. If you sell on Amazon or are just planning to launch your business, the recent news about new tariffs on US imports is something that could seriously affect your strategy. Imagine tariffs of up to 245% on goods from China and possibly all imports. These aren't just numbers, they're a challenge that could change prices, demand, and your profit. But don't panic. So, let's break down what's going on. The new tariffs announced by the administration impose duties of up to 245% on all imports, especially goods from China. That's a huge jump. Most of the products on Amazon, from kitchen appliances to clothing, are made in China. Take a look at the Blink brand, for example. Almost all of their products are made in China. And this is not an exception, but a rule for many categories on the platform. What does this mean for you as a seller? The first thing is the price increase. According to my calculations, the final prices for buyers can increase by 1.5 to 2 times. Of course, you can cut your margins a little to soften the blow, but you cannot completely avoid price increases. And this directly affects demand. People will buy less, especially goods that are not the first necessity. For example, decorative garden lights or entertainment gadgets may lose popularity, while food, towels, or basic clothing will remain a priority. But it's not that simple. It all depends on your niche. Take dietary supplements. If your product solves a specific problem, say acne or dry skin, demand may persist, especially if you have a unique offering. But if you're selling something less unique, like common vitamins, customers may switch to cheaper or more familiar brands. This means that your margin and profit calculations you made before are now in question. Competitors will also start changing prices, and customer behavior will become less predictable. Another important point is that the market as a whole will go up in price, but people's incomes will not rise proportionately. This creates a temporary imbalance. According to forecasts, the market may stabilize in a year and a half due to inflation if the tariffs remain in force. But until that happens, we need to act quickly and smartly to minimize risks and find new opportunities. Now that we understand the scope of the problem, let's get to the most important part. What to do? I've prepared some practical strategies to help you adapt to the new fees and minimize your risks. These steps are based on real experiences of sellers on Amazon, and I'll add a couple ideas to help you stand out. First, reconsider your purchases. Now is not the time to place large orders, especially for items from China. If you have stock, use it, but avoid making big investments in unproven products. Instead, start looking for alternative suppliers. For example, India is aggressively growing the manufacturing of apparel, accessories, and even simple electronic gadgets. Check platforms like Alibaba or IndiaMart to find factories that can offer competitive prices. Second, consider local manufacturing in the US. Yes, it used to be nearly impossible to compete with China on cost, but now the price difference may not be as big because of tariffs. Find small factories or workshops in the States. They may be interested in new customers. If you become one of the first partners, you'll get priority attention and possibly better terms. And for the more adventurous, consider starting your own production. For example, rent a space, buy machines, and hire a couple of workers. It sounds complicated, but for simple goods such as textiles or accessories, it is quite realistic. This way, you'll avoid dependence on tariffs, long deliveries, and customs problems. Plus, Made in USA is a powerful marketing move on Amazon. Third, adjust your prices carefully. If you have stock, start raising your prices gently. For example, by 1% per week. This will help offset rising costs, but won't scare away customers or drop your buy box. Keep an eye on your competitors through tools like Keepa or Helium 10 to make sure you don't get out of the market. The key is to proceed gradually and analyze buyer reactions. Fourth, keep in touch with Chinese suppliers. Do not discount them. Chinese manufacturers are masters of finding workarounds. Many already ship goods through third countries, such as Vietnam or Malaysia, where they are repackaged or assembled. This reduces tariffs because the goods are no longer technically made in China. Talk to your suppliers. They are probably already testing such schemes. These steps will not only help you stand your ground, but also help you find new opportunities. For example, vendors who were the first to switch to local suppliers in past crises often captured a niche while competitors were slow to act. So act quickly but wisely. Now let's look a little further ahead. What will happen to your Amazon business in the long run? Tariffs are not the end of the world, but rather a new challenge that opens doors for those who are ready to adapt. Let's break down how to prepare for the future and make your business more resilient. First things first, the market will likely stabilize. As I mentioned earlier, if tariffs stay, inflation will gradually equalize people's incomes and prices. This could take a year or a year and a half. But until then, it's important not to get stuck in old approaches. For example, if you are now dependent only on Chinese suppliers, start diversifying. Even if bypasses through third countries work, don't put everything on one map. Split your supply between China, India, and maybe local manufacturers in the US. It's like insurance for your business. Second, focus on uniqueness. Tariffs will hit harder on products that are easy to replace. If you have a unique product, for example, supplements with proven effects or clothing with a special design, you're in a better position. Think about how to reinforce your brand. Add value through packaging, improve descriptions, or customer perks. For example, one seller of yoga mats added a free exercise guide to every order, and his sales went up 15% despite price increases. Third, keep up with news and vendors. Rates can change quickly. Today 100%, tomorrow 255%, and a month from now 350% altogether. One last thing, don't panic. People will always need basic goods, food, clothing, necessities. Even in a crisis, people will continue to buy towels, pants, or simple accessories. Your task is to find a balance between current challenges and long-term growth. Start small. Test one new supplier, revise one product line, try raising prices by 1%. Small steps will lead to big results. So, friends, we've covered how the new import tariffs will affect your Amazon business, and most importantly, how to prepare for them. Let's summarize the results. First, don't panic. Demand for basic goods isn't going anywhere. Secondly, start acting now. Look for new suppliers in India or the USA. Test local production. Carefully adjust prices and keep your hand on the pulse with Chinese partners. Third, think about long-term sustainability. Diversify your supply and reinforce the uniqueness of your brand. Your next steps? Right today, open Alibaba or IndiaMart and find at least one new supplier. Check your prices through Keepa or Helium 10 and think about where you can add value to your product. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new Amazon business tips. Share in the comments how you plan to adapt to the tariffs. Your experience can help others. Onward to new heights.